Good morning everyone. This is Raghu, Assistant Professor of Biotechnology from SRN BGNR Government College, Khammam. So today's topic is bacterial nutrition and growth. So as all living organisms need nutrients for their growth, bacteria also needs some nutrition which is called as bacterial nutrition for their growth. If you see the definition of growth, growth is defined as increase in cell size or increase in cell number. If it is a single celled organism, increase in cell size is called as growth. If it is a multicellular organisms, increase in cell number is called as growth. So bacteria needs macro and micronutrients for their growth, and their growth is estimated with the help of growth curve, which will be discussed in upcoming slides. So if you see the growth requirements of the bacteria, a part of growth requirements, the bacteria also needs some physical requirements like temperature, pH, oxygen, osmotic pressure, etc. So these are the physical requirements which play an essential role in the growth of different kinds of bacteria. And the chemical requirements, as other organisms also needs these kinds of chemical requirements. These include the main source, the carbon source, nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus, trace elements, minerals, and also oxygen in case of aerobic bacteria. If they are anaerobic bacteria, oxygen is not needed. And also growth factors, metal ions, etc. So environmental conditions like physical requirements as well as chemical requirements like carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus along with oxygen, and oxygen is not needed in anaerobes. These are the requirements needed for the growth of bacteria. So based on temperature, the bacteria are classified into four major groups: psychrophiles, mesophiles, thermophiles and hyperthermophiles. So temperature plays an important role for the growth of bacteria. So generally psychrophiles will grow a temperature optimum between 15 to 25 degrees centigrade. They also grow at 0 degrees or below 7 degrees centigrade. So 0 to 25 degrees centigrade is best growth temperature for the psychrophiles. Best examples of the psychrophiles are Pseudomonas, Alkaligens, Lactobacillus, Flavobacterium, etc. The next one is mesophiles. So mesophiles, the temperature required ranges from 20 to 45 degrees and the optimum or minimum temperature is 37 degrees. So mesophiles, they require minimum 37 degrees centigrade as human beings body temperature is present, and all the members of Enterobacteriaceae will come under mesophiles. The next one is thermophiles. So thermophiles, as name indicates, these bacteria will grow at higher temperatures more than 45 degrees centigrade. So that means around 45 to 60 degrees centigrade is the range for these thermophiles, and best examples are Bacillus stereothermophilus Clostridium species. And hyperthermophiles, these bacteria will grow at more than 70 degrees centigrade, and even at 100 degrees centigrade they will grow, and optimum temperature is around 70 to 90 degrees centigrade. Best example, Dermis aquaticus, Thermococcus species, Pyrococcus species, Pyrodictycium species. So all this will come under hyperthermophiles. So this is the temperature requirement of the bacteria, and also classification of bacteria based on temperature. So these are the 4 different kinds of bacteria which grow at 4 different temperatures. So the next physical factor that is required for the growth of bacteria is pH. So bacteria can grow in acidic medium as well as alkaline medium and at neutral medium. Those bacteria that will grow in acidic medium are called as acidophiles. Best example, Lactobacillus acidophilus. And the bacteria which will grow at alkaline conditions is called as alkalophiles. Best example, Vibrio. And most of the bacteria, they grow at a pH range between 6 to 8. So all the remaining bacteria are the examples of neutrophiles. And sometimes certain bacteria will grow just above the neutral pH, that is around 7.2 to 7.6. That is slightly alkaline condition. So that is the pH requirement for the growth of bacteria, and also classification of bacteria based on pH: acidophiles, alkalophiles and neutrophiles. And this is nutritional types of bacteria or classification of bacteria based on nutrition or energy source. You can see on the top, if they require light as a source of energy, that means these bacteria can prepare their own food material. These are called as phototrophs. If they require chemical for energy source, they are called as chemotrophs. And again, these phototrophs and chemotrophs are classified based on the carbon source. So you can clearly see, based on carbon source, if the carbon source is CO2, then they are called as chemoautotrophs. If the carbon source is based on organic compounds, then they are called as chemoheterotrophs. In case of phototrophs, if the carbon source is carbon dioxide, then they are called as photoautotrophs. If the carbon source is organic compounds, then they are called as photoheterotrophs. In chemoheterotrophs, again the electron acceptor varies. Sometimes the final electron acceptor is oxygen in some bacteria, or sometimes the final electron acceptor is an organic compound or an inorganic compound. If it is an organic compound, the best example is fermentative bacteria like Streptococcus. If it is an inorganic compound in the electron transport chain, best example is Clostridium species. So these chemoheterotrophs are classified again based on the final electron acceptor, oxygen and inorganic compound and organic compound. If chemoautotrophs utilizes iron, nitrogen, sulfur, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, etc. as an electron acceptor, Best example is oxidizing bacteria. And when it comes to photoheterotrophs, best example is green sulfur bacteria, purple sulfur non-sulfur bacteria, purple non-sulfur bacteria. So they does not utilize sulfur, or sulfur is completely absent. That means as an electron acceptor, then they are called as non-sulfur bacteria. So green and purple non-sulfur bacteria, they will come under photoheterotrophs. So when it comes to photoautotrophs, they utilize CO2 and also energy source is light. They are again divided into oxygenic and anoxygenic. So oxygenic means they utilize photosynthesis. Anoxygenic means they use sulfur, H2S, etc. as terminal electron acceptor. Best example, green and purple sulfur bacteria. So that is classification based on the nutrition. So chemical, light, energy source. If it is chemical, chemotrophs. If it is light, phototrophs. Again, based on carbon source. If it is organic compound, it is chemoheterotroph. If it is CO2, it is chemoautotroph. In phototrophs, if the carbon source is CO2, it is photoautotrophs. If it is organic compound, then photoheterotrophs. So that is major classification which is shown in green color, and also carbon and electron sources are shown in red color or pink color. So that is nutritional requirement of bacteria and classification of bacteria based on nutrition. And as I mentioned, gases, oxygen, presence of oxygen and absence of oxygen is also an important factor for the growth of bacteria. Based on the oxygen requirement, the bacteria are classified into obligate aerobes, facultative anaerobes, obligate anaerobes, aerotolerant and microaerophils. So you can clearly see here the effect of oxygen on growth is the factor obligate anaerobes. Obligate means strict aerobes. Strict aerobes means they require oxygen. So presence of oxygen is compulsory, is mandatory for them. So obligate aerobes are strict aerobes, they require oxygen for their growth. Facultative anaerobes. So both aerobic and anaerobic in nature. So they will, facultative means they can grow in presence or absence of oxygen. So these are called as facultative anaerobes. And obligate anaerobes means strict anaerobes. They grow only in the absence of oxygen. Growth ceases in presence of oxygen. That means they grow only in the absence of oxygen. Those are obligate anaerobes or strict anaerobes. Aerotolerant anaerobes. These are anaerobes, but they can tolerate little amount of oxygen. So in the presence of oxygen also they will grow. And microaerophiles. They are aerobic, but they require only little amount of oxygen for their growth. So obligate aerobes are strict aerobes, they require oxygen. Facultative aerobes or anaerobic growth they will show. Obligate anaerobes, they are strict anaerobes. The growth ceases in the presence of oxygen. Aerotolerant are anaerobic, but they can tolerate little amount of oxygen. And microaerophils, they require low amount of oxygen for their growth. So these are the test tubes that are showing the growth of different organisms. So bacterial growth in a tube of solid medium. So this is a solid medium tube showing, so you can see obligate aerobes, they are growing at the top of the medium. That means they required oxygen for their growth. Facultative anaerobes, they are showing top growth as well as the inside the tube also you can clearly observe their growth. So that means in the presence and absence of oxygen they will grow. Obligate anaerobes at the bottom of the tube, that means they are strict anaerobes, they does not require oxygen. So you can see their growth at the bottom of the test tube. Aerotolerant, so everywhere in the tube you can see their growth. And microaerophilic, a little bit topper position in the tube, that means they require little oxygen for their growth. So that is the growth of different bacteria based on the presence or absence of oxygen. So if you see explanation of oxygen effects, the strict aerobes, obligate aerobes, they show the presence of enzymes like catalase, superoxide desmodase allows them to prevent from toxic substances produced due to excess of oxygen. That means they will neutralize this excess of oxygen, react to oxygen intermediates with the help of these enzymes. Same as facultative anaerobes. Whereas obligate anaerobes, they lack this type of enzymes. And whereas microaerophilic bacteria and aerotolerant bacteria, they show little presence of some enzymes like SOD. So that is the distribution of enzymes in this bacteria. So that is classification of bacteria based on oxygen requirement. So the next one is classification of bacteria or osmotic pressure based on osmotic pressure. Osmotolerant are those microorganisms which can grow at relatively high salt concentration. So some bacteria which we have seen like Archaebacteria, they grow at higher salt concentration. And also some bacterial species, Eubacteria, they will also show their growth at high salt concentration. Best example is Aeromonas, Staphylococcus species, etc. Those bacteria which show their growth at high salt concentration, that is above 0.2 to 0.6, they are called as halophiles. Example, Halobacterium, Halobium. So this Halobacterium and Halobium is an Archaebacteria which is seen grown at high salt concentration. So that is osmotolerant and halophiles. And if you see, some bacteria are seen in water bodies like oceans, lakes, etc. If you see the pressure, hydrostatic pressure that is exhibited by the water bodies, the pressure doubles with every 10-meter increase in depth. So some bacteria will grow by withstanding this hydrostatic pressure. So those bacteria are unable to grow at laboratory level, but they will grow well in the sea or lake water and can withstand high hydrostatic pressures. So those bacteria are called as barophiles. So barophiles can withstand high pressures, but they are unable to grow at laboratory conditions. So those are barophiles. So while coming into the essential requirements which are shown in the previous slides, like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur, are the best sources for CNPS, which are called as macronutrients, and some calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium also needed for the growth of the bacteria. And some trace elements like zinc, molybdenum, manganese are also required for the bacteria to grow. So these are the macro and micronutrients: oxygen requirement, temperature requirement, and also carbon, and also osmotic pressure, etc., which are needed for the growth of the bacteria. So the bacteria also exhibit certain proteins which play an important role in chelation of the metal ions required for their growth. Like siderophores are specialized molecules secreted to bind iron ions and transport it into cell. So siderophores are specialized molecules which are synthesized by bacteria, which play an important role in binding to ferric ion and play an important role in the transport of Fe+3, and finally it is converted into Fe+2, and it is utilized by the bacteria. So that is the function of siderophores. So for the growth of bacteria under laboratory conditions, with all these nutritional factors and temperatures, we can use 4 different kinds of media, which are called as selective medium, differential medium, minimal medium and complex medium. So selective medium is a medium which is especially used for the growth of certain bacteria. So these bacteria are enriched in the presence of this selective medium only. So best example is EMB medium, which is used to differentiate lactose fermenters, and EMB agar lactose fermenters, which is used for differentiating Enterobacteriaceae members like E. coli. So that is selective medium. Differential medium is used to distinguish between different types of bacteria based on some observable trait, like McConkey agar and blood agar medium. So within the same species also you can differentiate the different types of strains based on their blood agar, based on their trait, that means use of blood agar and non-use of blood agar, and also McConkey agar. So that is differential media, which is used to differentiate the strains within the same species. And minimal media is a medium which is required for the minimum growth of the bacteria. So it contains all the amino acids and also other minimal requirements for the growth of bacteria. So other one is complex medium, is a medium which contains complex substances like glucose for bacterial growth, water, salts for bacterial growth, amino acids, nucleotides. So this is especially for fastidious bacteria. That means those bacteria which are grown in non-selective medium and massively requires the growth factors and also amino acids, nucleotides, etc. So that is complex medium. So these are the different types of medium that are used for the growth of bacteria. So if you see the growth of bacteria, bacterial growth curve better explains the growth of bacteria. This bacterial growth curve generally it is sigmoidal in nature, comprising of lag, log and stationary phase. So you can see the x-axis and y-axis, number of bacteria and time period. As time period increases, the phases will be shifting from lag, log to stationary phase. If all the growth requirements are once they are completed or completely utilized, then the death phase starts or decline phase, which leads to death of the organisms. So the first phase is lag phase. You can clearly see the lag phase, where the bacteria will adjust to the environment and it is metabolically and physiologically active, but there is no division is observed. So the bacteria will increase in size. So that is the bacterial adjustment to the environmental conditions. So that is lag phase. In log phase, there will be logarithmic increase in number of the bacterial cells. So it is also called as exponential phase. Cells will be exponentially increase. That is, 1 will become 2 bacterium, 2 will become 4. It is an exponential increase in bacterial cell number. So that is log phase. And stationary phase, where the medium is slowly consumed by the bacterial species and the bacterial species reaches a stage where the medium is completely utilized. So that is stationary phase. So cell division decreases at this point and there will be a equilibrium maintenance is observed between the dead cells and the newly dividing cells. And the last phase is death or decline phase, where the nutrition is completely exhausted and the bacteria will go to death or decline phase, where the sigmoidal curve will be declined. You can clearly see the death phase. So these are the 4 phases of the bacterial growth curve: lag phase, log phase, stationary phase and death phase. And the curve shows the sigmoidal in nature. So next one is how we calculate the generation time. So generation time is the time needed for the culture population to double. So that is generation time. So 1 bacterium will become 2, 2 will become 4, 4 will become 8. Exponential increase in bacterial cell number. So the time required for the culture population to double is called as generation time. It is given by G is equal to T by N. So where T is time of the exponential growth, G is generation time, N is number of generations. So with this formula you can calculate the generation time of the bacterial growth culture. And also you can calculate the number of generations that a culture has undergone. Number of generations that a culture has undergone. N is equal to number of generations. In the previous slide we have seen G is equal to T by N is the generation time where the population doubles. And how many times the population doubled will give the number of generations. That is calculated with the formula Nt is equal to N0 into 2 to the power of N. If you take log on both sides, then will become log Nt is equal to log N0 plus N log 2. Then log N0 will go to the left hand side, then it will become log Nt minus log N0 is equal to N into log 2. And log 2 will go to left hand side, then N will become N is equal to log Nt minus log N0 by log 2. That is equal to N is equal to 3.3 into log Nt minus log N0, where Nt is the number of cells of at certain point of time, N0 is the initial number of cells. So by this you can calculate the number of generations that a bacterial growth has undergone. You can calculate the generation time, that is doubling time, G is equal to T by N, and also you can calculate the number of generations that a bacterial cell has undergone. N is equal to 3.3 into log Nt minus log N0. So that is bacterial growth, bacterial nutrition, growth requirements needed for the bacteria. So thank you for patiently listening the topic.